every year people set up these really cool Christmas villages and they're lit up and they got the little characters and little figures and the trees and little buildings, and some of them have movable parts and some of them have little trains and stuff. But I've always thought that those would be a great terrain board to play a miniatures game on. And this year I built one for ZynVaded. And if you're not familiar with ZynVaded, ZynVaded is a tabletop miniatures game. But you only need 3 models to play on each side. So it's a very small skirmish game. It's totally portable, and it's 1-to-1 real world scale. So what does that mean? That means they're as big as they are, and we're as big as we are. So ultimately, your terrain is anything you have. Your coffee table, your dinner table. We'll take the game and go to dinner and play across the table while having food, because that's your terrain. Because to us humans, we see bugs. To them, they see these giant humans, and they came here by accident. They invaded off of some bad data. They had a probe that crashed on planet Earth. It sent back some data, and it said, "Hey, we're all tiny, and they should invade." And so they showed up, and then realized that, hey, they're really small, about an inch to 2 inches high, 3 inches high in some cases, and we're 5-6 feet tall. So the game is a blast. It makes it very easy for you to find terrain, and what better terrain than a Christmas village? And so I pitched the idea to my wife, and she introduced me to cobblestone corners available at Dollar Tree, and they have all of these cute little buildings and trees and little characters, little figures, little human figures, and the buildings light up, which is really cool, and some of the trees light up, and it's the perfect size for the fluff of ZynVasion. It's a ZynVasion of a Christmas village, which would be perfect, because that's why they came. They got here by bad data, and I thought for the last few years this would be really cool. And so this year I decided to build one. And so through this video, I'm going to show you the steps that I went through, how I put it together, and then I'll show you the complete village again at the end, in a little more with the models and actual gameplay going on. And it should be really cool. So anyway, without further ado, let's go build a Christmas village for a ZynVasion.
Okay, so the base is just simple insulation foam, and it's just cut down to the size I needed. I needed a 3-foot board, and it's in 2 halves, so it'll be easy to transport. All of the buildings have been magnetized, and all the trees are magnetized to go on bases, making them easy to move around and also easy to transport. Because I'm going to take this to the game stores, I am going to do it for demos, things like that. Some of the models are not, they're just kind of set on, but I will show you how I did the magnets with the boards, and I'll show you how I did the whole thing. Now, what you're looking at right here is all of these little buildings are from the cobblestone range, available at Dollar Tree. And the coolest thing is they light up. So again, another reason for magnetizing and not gluing them down is because you'll be able to turn them over. You need to be able to turn them off and on, and need to be able to change the batteries. They all run on like 2 AAA batteries, which are rather difficult to find at Dollar Tree because they sell those out pretty quick. Now, all the buildings, almost all of the trees, some of these dark trees I actually got a couple years ago, I think in the Target dollar section, but I think that each piece is $1.25. The little presents come in a package like this, again $1.25. All little figures, usually there's 2 or 3 per package, $1.25. These boards are actually also from Dollar Tree. They come in this size. They're over in the hobby section. They come in this size, which is about 3 inches by 7 inches, I believe. Yeah, they're about 3 by 7. And then these squares, also same place. Those are like about 4.5-inch squares. And then some of these with these other funky shapes and the big flower shape. Again, literally everything here came from Dollar Tree except for the foam and a few of the trees. Don't let that fool you though. $1.25 repeatedly adds up very quickly. So, but I think it'll make a really cool board. Little fences are also magnetized. Again, light post magnetized. Again, to make transport easy. The idea is I want to be able to take these boards off, put them in a big box, take this to the game store, and then pull them all out, set it up without destroying everything. So all the trees will come off and they snap back in. Plus, if they get bumped while playing, not so much. Now, I will show you how I did these boards, which is actually very simple with the magnets. In fact, I'm missing a tree there. So I'll show you how I magnetize the trees. I'll show you how I set the boards up. Hot glue gun and this white Christmas cover that it came like it's like, I don't know, it's huge. It was pretty big, and it was, I'm not sure where that came from. My wife got that one for me. Okay, well, that's where we're at right now. I do have roads that are going to come in here. Those are being worked on, and I'll show you how I did each piece. So enough of me talking about the intro. Let me show you how I started this table.
So the initial layout, you can see I was going to have roads, and here I kind of used the boards just to give an idea of how the road would lay out. And I also, after another trip to the store, found more models that I didn't already have, including these little sledders. One's like in a tube, one's in a sled, and I knew I had to have a hill, so I added the hill, which you can see on the right there. And just kind of laid things out to say, hey, this is how I think the board's going to look. Do I have enough? Remember, it's a terrain board for a skirmish, battle game. So do I have enough trees? I didn't. I needed to get more trees because I needed to have plenty of cover. You don't want to have cover heavy on one side and not the other. I wanted to make sure it was fair. And then I also was trying to work out how everything would lay out.
Okay, so like I said, all of the models and the buildings, everything is Cobblestone Corners Winter Village, which is available at Dollar Tree. And let's see, with the trees, they're actually pretty nice trees. I mean, heavily flocked, pretty well balanced. You'll get this problem where some of them are like stuck together. Keeping a good pair of scissors so you can clip off any anything that doesn't look right. Alright, so how do we set this up on a base? So these 4.5-inch square bases that, again, you get at Dollar Tree, you get like 6 of them in a pack for $1.25. They're actually really useful. I started by painting them white. Why? Because when you cover it with the foam, that's the brown, and then the white. And hopefully you can see that. Hopefully you can see that that it covers the white. Just looks better underneath it because this isn't, this is see-through, so having the white underneath it does make it a little easier. Okay, so anyway, enough about that. I'll show you that again here shortly. I just want to use some generic cover for these so that I can just put them anywhere. This is a demo base, or this is a board for ZynVaded. So ZynVaded is, if you're not familiar with the game, ZynVaded is playable anywhere. That's the whole point. It's a 1-to-1 real-world scale miniatures game. You only need like 3 models per side, but you can expand it. They have some additional models. You can add mercenaries. You can even add attachments, which are little grubs, in weapons. They're super cute. But I want to be able to move bases through here. So if you're just building a Christmas village, feel free to, build this up. But the whole point being, you go to grandma's house, you got these massive Christmas villages, or, your uncle's house or your brother's house or whatever. And you're like, wow, that's really cool. Okay, let's go get something to drink, sit down and do something. How about playing through all that terrain? Because it looks really cool and it makes great terrain, and that's what ZynVaded is all about, is playing the game wherever. So once you kind of have an idea where you want, pencil, and you just kind of mark a little X just to make it a little easier so you know where to drill the holes next. Now, the magnets that I'm using for this are 3.2 millimeter or 0.125. I have a 1/4 inch drill bit for wood. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go outside. I'm going to drill these holes. We're going to come back. We're going to put magnets in it, in those holes, and then I'm going to glue magnets to the trees because it'll be easier that way. And then we're going to put the foam on it, and you'll be able to see what the final product looks like. So I'll be right back. Okay, I drilled the holes. Now, when you do drill those, you probably want to sand them, so make sure you got a sanding block or something nearby just to help smooth them down a little bit. Now, easiest way to do this is to find something that you already have magnetized, because you're going to want to make sure all your magnets are polarized the right way. That is a mistake you do not want to make. So that comes from experience. Okay, so I already have trees that were magnetized. Basically, I started with one tree magnetized and used that one tree to help guide everything else. So I am going to use hot glue, and my hot glue gun is warmed up. And knowing that I want it to go this direction, I'll be very careful. I'm going to pop these off, making sure I keep them the right way. I'm going to make sure you don't do this on your mom's good kitchen table. You have a box or something underneath it, and I'm going to push the magnet into there. And I'm going to do this other one real quick. And basically, I just want the hot glue along the sides. Okay, do that. Clean up any glue on the other side, and now, all right, now for the next part, we're going to do our trees. Now this is the easiest part. All I got to do is put a magnet on each one. Now, believe it or not, hot glue actually works very well for this. I'm going to put some glue there. I'm going to put it over on this one. And I'm just going to take my tree right in the middle, stick it on there, let it sit for a minute. Take that one, stick it on there, let it sit for just a moment, and voila, you now have magnetized trees. And this is the same process you're going to repeat for everything. So be prepared. It's going to take a little time to magnetize it all, but it'll be worth it in the end. And now you can just pull it right off. Make sure you don't have any excess glue. And like I said, I was totally amazed at how easily the hot glue sticks and works. Got one more tree I need to do. Now you can, I did have one tree where the magnet did pull off, and just cleaned it up and then put the hot glue, and then re-glued it. So that was no big deal. Okay, now we're gonna let that sit for just a moment. We're gonna get out some of our snow cloth. This is cloth that, like I said, at this time of Christmas time, you can find this pretty much everywhere. Target, Dollar Tree has it. They have some with sparkles, some without. Totally up to you which one you want. I just wanted the plain, slightly off-white. It's kind of a grayish color. Take my tree off. You want to make sure that it's wide enough that the piece will cover all around, because we're also going to do the edges. And to do this, we're going to hit the corners. You do not need to cover the board 100%. About like that. Take it and flip it over. Press it down really solid. Okay, the reason we did the edges because we want to make sure that the edges will stick. It doesn't have to stick in the middle because if the edges are stuck, the rest of it will stick. I'm going to go ahead and cut off some of my excess here. Save it for another piece. Okay. Now, there we go. I got a little folded. Alright. Now, to do the edges, we're going to peel that back. I'm going to run hot glue along the edge. And then I'm going to take that, fold it over like that, press it down, and slide it. Remember, this is not a solid piece, so the glue will seep through. So to help that, so it doesn't glue to the board, I'm sliding it across. And it also helps push it down. Now I'm going to start on the opposite side, just because it does help make it a little bit easier. Like so. Sorry for all the background noise. I am not filming in my painting room. I am out in the game room. So kids are watching Doctor Who, I think. Alright. Continuing with side number 3. And then the last side. Okay, now the only thing we need to do next is trim some of this excess off. Again, we want it to stay on the side, so we don't want all this extra. So the way I do that is I make sure my scissors are flat against the back and then cut it. And then you might need to cut little pieces here and there, like so. Alright, trim any corners. Now with your base done, and you can then stick your trees on, and now you have a snowy terrain piece that you can put anywhere on your snowboard. Okay, that is how, same thing with the buildings. You'll probably want to map them out a little bit better. See, like there's one where I've got to re-glue because it popped off. Because you want to make sure that the buildings will fit and that you have it in the right spot. Because some of them have, you don't want to get it down in like these little trenches, or, on there. You don't want to put the magnet on the switch. But like so. And the buildings, the trees, everything was done the exact same way. Even this little sign here, which had a problem standing up by itself. So I made a special board for it because that's the main entrance into the town. Even the little light up "Welcome to Cobblestone Corners" is magnetized. Okay. And that's how everything was magnetized. That's how it was done. Now, the presents and stuff, I did hot glue these together into these little pieces, just making it easier to be able to position them around, because again, this is a terrain board. While it looked like a Christmas village, it looks like it's a centerpiece or a big piece for, show. It's to grab attention, because ZynVaded is that awesome, and it's playable anywhere. So you can take ZynVaded to Grandma's house and play through her little town, or whoever's town it is, that's whoever's house you're at. So again, I'm nearly complete at this point. I'll show you how I'm doing the roads, and then the next piece I think I need to finish off is the board itself, which is going to be covered in the same snow. So that's it. The hill over there is it's literally just some pieces of this foam that were stacked on top of each other. Then I trimmed them down a little bit so that they would give the shape of a hill. The trees on the hill, I have not decided how I want to position them. If I just let them sit there, they're going to be easy to knock over. But for the demo that for this that I'm setting up, I'm probably I want to be able to have 4 players coming in from each corner. So you want to make sure that the corners they have some cover, which is why I have these tree setups. But I have the hill over there, so I'll probably figure out a way to magnetize those trees into that section on the hill, and yeah, I'll figure it out. But anyway, let me get back to it, and I'll show you what I'm doing next. Okay, let me show you how I'm doing the roads. Now, this is ultimately what I'm going to end up with. These are just color copies of the cobblestone. Actually has a little vinyl strip. It's about 3.5 inches by about 10.5 inches. Problem is I could only find 2. My wife looked at several places. I looked at several, could not find them at the Dollar Trees. We only found the 2. So, color copies, and that works. What I've also done is I've cut some cardboard into 3 by 10 inch strips. It's not going to cover the whole thing, but what it's going to do is it's going to allow us to wrap the board, so that way when it does sit on our board, it'll look nice all the way around, and you don't get the cardboard showing. This was my original prototype, which kind of gave me the idea of, I really should wrap this around, because the edges curled up and ultimately just looks terrible. But these look pretty good, even the corners. So let me show you how I'm going to do that. What I've done on my copy is I've marked on the back side where the edges are, so when I put this on I can try to center it as much as possible. And hot glue gun, be careful with the hot glue, because it's hot. Not too much, but you do want it around the edges, a little bit in the middle. And now we just want to stick this down. So give it a good press to get that glue stuff. All right, here's what we've got. Okay, we got enough to wrap around the edges. Now, so that we don't have to worry about corners or anything like that, this is what I have found works best. And this actually makes putting these together very easy and very quick. Folding your corners like so, right? And then folding the edge. And now we're going to glue that down. And I've done this a few times already, as I just showed you. So like I said, this was trial and error and burning my fingers. Why do I flip it? So that way I don't have to touch that hot glue. Like I said, it's hot. I'm tired of burning my fingers. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Okay. Come in, get the corners down, and flip this over and force it down like so. Alright, now the long edges, we just need to go ahead and fold those over like so. And we're going to run the glue on the edge like so. Okay, I'll do the same thing with the last edge. And there we go. Nice crisp edges. Looks very nice all the way around. Make as many of these as you need for your roads. If you do have a little white on the edge, well, marker will cover that right up if necessary. It's also white, and since it's also going to sit on a white bottom, that won't look bad. It's really, I just wanted to eliminate the cardboard look. Now, there I go. Now I have roads. Now I haven't decided if I'm going to paint these like I did this piece where we painted and flocked the sides so that it gives them a little bit of snow covering. I haven't decided. I'll decide. But for now, we'll move on to the next part. Okay, so like I said, this is just styrene board. It's insulation foam. It comes in pink, comes in blue. You can get it at Home Depot, Lowe's, wherever. The paint that I'm using is actually an old Valspar Ultra White that I just happen to have sitting around. Don't even remember what it was originally for, but it's just, you know, wall paint. And all I'm trying to do here is get rid of the blue. So we're not looking to make this a master paint job. All you want to do is turn this whole board white from the blue. A little light blue showing through will probably help make the snow look even, you know, look cool, but all of this blue coming through this is just going to look blue. So I'm going to do this, and I'll be right back. remember how I was talking about not sure how I was going to magnetize the ones on the hill. I thought this something up. I'm going to try something. I'm going to actually try to glue the magnet into the styrofoam and see if it will stay. So I have a little scrap piece of styrofoam here, and all I did was just use the tip of the glue gun just to melt the styrofoam a little bit. Not too deep, just enough to, so that should sit pretty flush. Again, this is just a piece of scrap. I just wanted to test this out. I'm gonna let that dry, let that glue dry and harden, and we'll see if that is gonna be strong enough to, if the glue will keep it within the styrofoam. So I'm gonna let that dry for a couple minutes, be right back. Okay, that's been drying for just a moment, a couple minutes anyway. All right, I have a tree with magnet. Well, it sticks. Now, can I pull the magnet off and will the glue hold it in? Look at that. Awesome. How strong is it? That's pretty good. I think that's going to work for us. All right, I think I now know what I'm going to do for the hill and how to stick the trees on. So, more to come. Okay, I'm at about the point where I'm about ready to put the snow covering on the boards itself. Now, I have mapped out the board numerous times. I even lined it so I could see where things were, because I wanted to run some extra lights just to help brighten it up, give it a little more festive, bright, colorful, whatever. So these will actually, they'll get nullified a little bit by the snow, which I think gives it a really cool effect. And then when the buildings and stuff are sitting right next to it, it won't be that bright. You'll only see a little bit of it. But I thought it would look cool. Now, those are battery operated. And again, came from Dollar Tree. And what I did was I stuck the battery packs are taped into position, taped underneath, and I just painted the covers because that way it'll help blend in. You won't be able to see it very, unless you're looking for it. And I also put one on each board underneath the road, so the road will sit on top of it. Now what you'll also see is I have magnets glued in to the board, and these are actually in the board itself. Hot glued. I used the tip of the hot glue gun to melt the hole down just a little bit, added glue, put the magnets in, and then the roads are all magnetized. So when when it's time, I just put the road on, and that'll help keep things in position when you're playing the game. So now this is going to take a little while, but let me put you down here. All right, so this is going to have to be done in stages of a little bit at a time, working my way across with the hot glue. I do want it to sit, I don't want it bunched up, I do want it to sit flat. So this is going to take a little while. Now you could do this if you have the time. You could use Elmer's glue with this, spread it out, put this down. You can use hot glue. Really what you want to do is you want to stay away from these in case you have to replace one. And I do have these taped down, which I don't know if you can see that very clearly, but the wires are taped so it'll stay in position. You definitely don't want to put glue on your magnets. So you really just, kind of like what we've done with the other stuff, you just want it around just to help hold this down in place. I'm not too concerned with it bunching up, anything like that, but you do need it to hold down, because just having it draped over it will move too much. So could hot glue it. We can Elmer's glue it. I did a test with Elmer's glue here. This was just a piece of foam that I found. It does okay. I use a paintbrush to fit it around, so Elmer's glue would work. Hot glue will work. What to do? Okay, so ultimately I think what I'm going to do is Elmer's glue, because the hot glue will, number one, it dries quickly. It cools down very fast. So by the time, I'm going to have to do it in very little patches, and that's going to be a nightmare. But with the Elmer's glue, I get a little more longevity out of it. So I think we'll use Elmer's glue. Now, while I'm going to cover the magnets with this, I do not want to glue it down. Definitely don't want to glue these down. So, but I do want the snow glued down in the right places. So, if I can get my glue to come out. There we go. There. There. Now I'm just going to take my brush. I'm going to brush it towards the edges. Now this is straight out of the pot, and you could water it down and do all that fun stuff like you see in some of the videos. I'm just trying to get this done. Over here. All right. And some here. And some there. All right. So with that, now we're going to pull our snow over the board. And again, it's Elmer's glue, so it's not gonna stick like the hot glue will. It will move, so we're going to just put that down. We'll hope for the best. Now, I need to do the other side. So, let's go over there. Alright, I feel like there's any places that are kind of loose, like this is a little area where there's no road or anything is going to be there. So I'm going to help glue that down. Go. Now we've got to let that sit and dry. So I need to trim this off the edge, and then I'm going to pull the other board over. So be right back. All right, now the other board. Now, this just needs to dry. So I'm going to move them both underneath the ceiling fan, and we're going to let them dry overnight. And then tomorrow, we'll trim them up, and we're done. So with that, I think the next thing you're going to see is probably the complete village all set up. So anyway, to the next part.
So there you have it. The terrain piece is complete. We've got a full game going on. This is a really large multiplayer game because I've got a ton of models out here. 5 players, including a merc to go along with each combat team. So I've got the Zyn and the Terror, and they're all fighting over this little village. And you can see how, as the fluff of the storyline for ZynVaded goes, They got here based off of some bad data, based off of thinking that we're only 32 millimeters tall. This fits perfectly in with that fluff. The sets the ambiance, sets the whole. It sets the whole pattern to the game. They came to invade thinking that's how big we were, those little guys, and come to find out that we're really, really large, and they're really small compared. So it totally fits, and it's so much fun, and it really just sets the whole atmosphere of the game. And your neighbors have these little village type things set up, whether it's cobblestone corners or some other brand, but they have them. You might have one in your house, but you get the idea of ZynVaded is playable just about anywhere, and those little villages that you set up at Christmas are the perfect terrain, as you can see here. We took it to the game store. We played on it a few times. It turns heads. People are just like, wow, that looks really cool. And you're playing a game, which makes it that much more fun. So anyway, I hope this helps. I hope you've enjoyed watching this video. I put a lot of work and time into this, and I really, really appreciate any comments, likes, and please subscribe to the channel. Let me know what you think of my ZynVaded, village. And as always, thanks for watching. Have a wonderful Christmas, have a wonderful holiday season, and bye now.